PSA and hot water, but the hockey card market is on fire. You're listening to the Hockey Card Haven podcast. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome. This is episode 62 of the Hockey Card Haven podcast. This is a weekly show diving deep into the world of hockey card collecting, flipping, and investing. Just a reminder that this podcast is free and available on Spotify as well as on Apple Podcasts. You can also watch and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube as well. I'm your host, Mike Distefano, Anthony Santini as my co-host. What's happening, Anth? How we feeling?
What's up, buddy? Was feeling pretty good, but had a little bit of a goalie situation in fantasy. Luckily, though, with your background theme of the Leafs, Hildebeest was able to save me with his shutout. So been keeping an eye on some of his cards, and they haven't performed as good as I thought they were going to be.
How are they doing? I'd imagine over the week they got to be up, though, no?
I mean, his PSA 10 selling for around $65 to $70, which they were kind of going for that last year. I was expecting those to surge over 100 really quickly, but he was a guy that I was looking at and kind of underwhelming. Didn't really see any big sales. I mean, he only really has the young guns and then a couple variations, but I mean, day to day, things could change.
Last sale, I'm seeing 120. Last sale, 90 before that. So it's on the up and up. It's on the up and up. There's a December 9 sale. So yesterday sold for 123. So they're on the up and up. And I don't know. It's funny. I have a Dennis Hildeby clear cut young guns that I opened when I ripped a case of, like, he was an extended or maybe series 2
he was
in the Bedard year. Yeah, extended. Yeah, okay. So he was an extended of the Bedard year with Fantilli and all that. And I ended up with a clear cut of Dennis Hildeby, which looks like a decent pull now. Looks like a decent hit all these years later. It's why you never know with the young guns. It's kind of funny. So sometimes guys will just pop off, and out of nowhere they became a valuable collectible, a commodity, if you will. And Hildeby's becoming that. I found a Morgan Geekie young gun in a $2 bin the other day. Morgan Geekie's got 22 goals. He's second in the league in scoring. And I picked it up for $2. I think he's like a $25, $30 young gun.
Yeah.
But someone just had it in the $2 bin. That's probably been sitting there for 4 or 5 years. And now out of nowhere in the last 3 weeks, it's popped off. Maybe last month it's popped off. And, you can find some good snipes if you go dollar bin diving like that, eh?
Yeah, even for the Morgan Geekie, I don't know if you know what the young gun canvas looks like, but it's so sweet in the Carolina uniform, kind of like in that hallway, chilling. I saw that one at
he's like hunched over on a stick.
Yeah,
right?
like kind of getting ready for the game in his own world type of thing. That was the young guns canvas for him, and I saw that for the first time, I believe, this weekend. I mean, I haven't really kept my eyes on Morgan Geekie over the last couple of years, but obviously with how well he's doing this year, I mean, I noticed that this weekend. I was like, damn, that's a pretty cool card. Came home, checked my massive 8-row box of just $1 to $10 young guns. No Morgan Geekie. So
no Geekies?
Not even one. Not even one. I do have over 50 Jacob Pros, so waiting.
Good for you. You invest in the right people, Anthony. You're investing in the right people. How many Dakota Joshuas you got?
I think I still have my 25 stack. I have no idea where it went, but I did have a stack of 25. I'm still waiting on him, and please let's not get into Michelli because I'm sitting on 3 future watches. But
yeah, hey man, Dakota Joshua, part of that identity line on the Leafs, they're starting to get going. So maybe they'll start to grow in demand. Right now, the Leafs market not the hottest. Looked like Joseph Wool's market was starting to tick up a little bit, and obviously with another injury, it's now back on the decline. But that means it's time for the Hildebeest to come through as we kind of go full circle on that tangent of a conversation. We want to get into a couple of things on today's show. We got to get into this PSA controversy, which is kind of taking over the collector's landscape. I know that it happened somewhat in the TCG marketplace, but it's PSA could have happened to a hockey card collector, a baseball, a football, could have happened to anybody that submitted with PSA. So we got to get into that because it's very controversial. And I've seen some people who've been affiliates, have been submission affiliates with PSA for a while, starting to not take orders anymore because of the controversy here. But I think there's a little bit of miscommunication with this whole thing, and maybe we could try and clear it up in a little bit. So we got to get into the PSA stuff. We're just a couple weeks out from Christmas. I mean, 2 weeks tomorrow until Christmas is here. So we got a fun little top 5 Christmas gifts for collectors. Now's the time to get out there and start buying your gifts. I was at my LCS just earlier today, and a couple parents walked in and they're starting to buy some Christmas gifts, bought a couple singles, bought a box, some Pokemon cards, bought some hockey cards. And I'm like, all right, awesome. I think it might be a good little refresher, some top gifts that you could possibly get fellow card collectors. So we'll have a list of that. And it's been a week since the Cup came out, and there have been some monster pulls and some monster sales in when it comes to the Cup. And dude, the Macklin Celebrini market right now, we could talk about Hildeby, we could talk about Morgan Geeky. No one is doing the numbers that Macklin Celebrini is doing right now. It is insanity. So we'll get into all of that, but I think we do got to start with this PSA situation. So, Anthony, what's your understanding of the PSA controversy? Have you looked into this much?
So I saw a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, a video put out, or maybe it was a tweet. I know Coach Co got into it, and you're going to show that. But a collector came out and said that they used PSA, the platform, I guess, through the buying site, which we talked about last year, where you can actually grade cards with PSA, and they'll offer you cash in exchange for that card. You actually don't even need to ship it back to where you got it from. They'll just kind of take it. I don't know what the process is with getting you that money, but either way, it sounds like a collector sent out raw cards, got them graded, learned that they were going to be PSA 9s, and then PSA essentially sent them back a message saying, all right, we'll take it at $35. Come to find out a week later, whatever it was, these cards turned into PSA 10s, which is pretty crazy to think that PSA could offer for your cards, buy them off you because you signed off on it, you approved it, you said yes, and then ultimately just change the grades. So that is the controversy. My opinion, I mean, we'll get into it. I know you want to play the video, but it is a sticky situation right now for PSA.
Yeah, so you pretty much just explained what the video goes into detail of. Like, I think you pretty much kind of nailed it as to what the big hoopla is. And I guess we could play it just in case there was some missed information there. Here's Coach Co kind of going into detail of what exactly the controversy is with PSA and one of its collectors.
This post highlights the dangers of having one company doing everything. This comes from PZPTCG on Twitter, where they showcased one of their recent PSA submissions, where they believed that PSA had been unreasonably harsh, giving too many 9s. They then proceeded to sell some of those 9s back to PSA for an average of $35. Then something crazy happened. They realized that the certification number on those 9s, some of them had become 10s, which had essentially meant that the company had bought PSA 10s for PSA 9 prices. Now, PSA has since refunded the buyback and said that they actually regraded the entire sub for the customer. And apparently that was done without their knowledge, after the original grade reveal post had gone viral. I'm glad the customer's happy that the cards have been given the appropriate grade. Still a very worrisome situation. Let me know how you feel in the comment section. This could be a...
Okay, so I mean, that's pretty much the situation right now. Now, I was listening to Sports Card Nonsense, and I thought they did a really good, they had a good discussion, actually clarified a couple things that I don't think enough people understand about the PSA buyback program. So it's not PSA themselves, apparently, who are buying these cards. They just broker it as part of their portal system, but it's other people who are buying them just through PSA. So it's not necessarily PSA buying the cards. That's one thing that I think is a misconception. So it's not like they're buying 9s off people and then switching them to 10s and then reselling them into the market. That's not what is happening, which seems to be the big misconception of what's happening here with this product. But the other thing that they were saying is what had happened was the Preston, who was the guy who had made the submission, he had a complaint, or he wanted to get his cards regraded, submitted them for review. And during the review, I guess he went on to sell them on the marketplace. And then after they sold, the review process went through and they changed the grades to 10s, but they had already been sold at that point. And that's where the kind of, I think, distinction as to what actually happened pops up here. And that's kind of the issue. Like, do you follow what I'm talking about here, and where the distinction is, and where I guess the controversy lies with what happened and what is being reported to have happened?
Well, that's the thing that people don't really dive into too, right? You kind of just see like that headline and, oh, look
Right.
how easy it is to like sham people out of money or sham people out of grades. And when you really do the deep diving, I feel like that's where you kind of see like, okay, even though maybe PSA did make it up in the end to refund the buyer, was it really their fault? Was it the buyer's fault? Was it the seller's? It's kind of one of those tricky situations. I mean, overall, the way that I view this situation is interesting because the first thing that came up to my mind was, you think PSA really cares to steal $150, $200,
No,
$300 to put their reputation on the line? Absolutely not.
no.
That was the first thing that crossed my mind. Now, is it completely possible that maybe one employee was kind of in the lunchroom talking, thinking like, oh, could we do something like this? That was
And
another
that's,
thing that crossed
but
my
again,
mind.
but that's
Even
not what
still,
ended up happening, right?
exactly,
That's not what
exactly.
happened at all. It wasn't even PSA. The problem is, actually, here's the overall issue, and this has always been a problem with PSA. Every grade is subjective. Every grade is subjective. I'm looking at a card and I put it at a 10. You look at a card and you're going to put it at a 9. So when it got re-reviewed, apparently they took it and they're like, oh, actually these should have got a 10. And then all of a sudden they changed. That should not be the case. That should not be happening. The amount of money people are spending to grade cards, there should be more consistency with it. And that to me is the bigger issue. I think that someone else looks over these cards and says, oh, you're right, they should be a 10. They should have been a 10 the first time. Like, you
Right.
shouldn't have to resubmit and re-review these cards. I mean, you're paying for a service, you expect to get that service, and you're not getting it. And I guess in this circumstance, it just so happened that he had sold the cards while they were being reviewed. And then he realized after he had sold them that they got upgraded, but they were already out of his hands at that point and sold to somebody else through PSA. So it wasn't PSA that bought them back, but PSA is kind of the broker of the deal through their site, through their portal. I think that's where kind of the confusion comes. But also, if a card's being regraded, why it's available in the marketplace is beyond me. Like, that's another issue too. So I think there's multiple issues here, mainly on PSA's side. I don't think they did anything nefarious, which is kind of the biggest thing that I do want to pull from it. I don't think they did anything nefarious, but there are definitely flaws in the system. That's what I pull from this scandal. I don't want to call it a scandal, a controversy.
Mhm.
I don't believe it's a scandal. Like, the flaws are, and it's never going to change as long as it's people grading it and not, AI and technology. As long as that's there, grades are always going to be subjective, depending on how someone's feeling, how someone sees something. That's just the way it's going to be. So until AI completely takes over grading, that's always going to be a small flaw within PSA. And the other one is the fact that, and I believe PSA came out and said the reason why it was even available is because there's two different systems or something like that when cards are reviewed and when cards are for sale. They're going to converge those. And when cards are pending a new review, I guess, possible grade upgrade, they will now pull them from the marketplace. So, like, those are the two things that I think were the biggest issues afoot here. And it sounds like, I mean, at least the marketplace one, PSA is going to look into that and change it so that this doesn't happen again. But unfortunately, as long as they have eyeballs making the decisions on what grades a card gets, there's always going to be these kind of issues. Like how often have you taken a card, cracked it, resubbed it, and got a different grade? Like, happens all the time. People do this all the time. There are collectors out there looking right at you, Mazeppa, guys who legitimately go around looking for 8s or 9s that look good so they can crack it, send it back in, and hoping to get a higher grade, a 9 or a 10 off that card. Like that a lot of people have turned their flipping business into resubmitting cracked cards, and it's because everything's subjective. And until that, I guess, is ratified, or until that changes, you're always going to kind of have a slight problem with PSA and grading. Just the way it is.
And I feel like the controversy kind of kickstarted with that person saying in their post, like, oh, PSA was really harsh with my submission. Come to find out that it was actually graded a 10. One of the first things I read when I first saw it, and as someone that's graded in the past and has obviously seen cards, like I might pull up a card right now and just be like, oh, this card's going to get a 10 for sure. I mean, I bought it. I paid a premium. It looks great. I have that bias for my submission. Everyone always has it. But then, all right, there's going to be 9s. There's going to be 8s. It's going to come with the 10s for sure. But I feel like that bias of your submission is always going to come into play. And when that collector kind of said, oh, PSA was really harsh, and then come to be they actually were 10s after I already sold it to them as 9s, it really kickstarted the whole thing. But obviously, like you said, it's nice to see that these motions, or the plan is already being brought into motion, that, they're going to combine that review stage, because I feel like that's what you have to do. And there's always going to be flaws in the system. And that's kind of the unfortunate part now, that PSA had to realize it through this. And I hope that, like you mentioned at the start of the conversation, that some of their supporters are starting to pull back on. I know that, I believe, I forget the show name, but there was a show in the US that actually pulled PSA from their show.
There's been multiple shows or submission centers or stores that have had affiliations, or at least have been taking in cards and have been sending them to PSA, that due to this controversy had stopped doing that. And again, I think a lot of it is a misunderstanding ultimately. And that's why I wanted to talk about this. That's why I wanted to present that other side of the argument and the other fact from PSA's perspective. So I think that clears up a little bit of the controversy where I guess it's being deemed as a bit of a scandal when you look at it from the collector's perspective, from that Preston guy when he first came about it, and Coach Co when he talked about it. I think when you put all the facts together and you figure out what actually happened, it's more of just a misunderstanding than it is a scandal.
Right.
Yeah. But it does beg the question, though, Anthony, of whether or not, again, you look at a company like Tag Grading, who I've never used them. I've had friends who've used them. I know Jeremy Lee's a big Tag Grading guy. He believes in the product, and it is an AI. It is technology, and that would curb some of the issues that PSA has with the inconsistency. At least Tag it's consistent. It's the exact same eyeballs, aka the it's not a robot, but the system, the algorithm, whatever it is, looking at these cards, it's all looking at from the same lens.
And it's going to be consistent every time.
So it's going to be consistent every time.
Right.
But like, at least you know it. And there's a detailed report of why you didn't get the grade you received, or why you did get the grade you received. Like, it'll tell you, hey, it's off top to bottom, left, right. It's 45, 46. It's 45, 45, 40, 60. There's a ding, there's a scratch, there's a print line, there's a this. It gives you a detailed report. I've seen these reports. It's actually very, very neat. And I do wonder if eventually PSA adopts this type of product like this, because ultimately I think PSA is always going to have these consistency issues, and whether or not that's going to hurt their company long term, I don't know. They're obviously still the king, and everyone's still going to be submitting to PSA. I think GemRate just put it out last month. They had like 1.8 million cards graded last month, which was like 1.5 million more than the next highest graded company. So I really, really am curious to see if this will at least make PSA think about moving into, more of a technological advancement of card grading in the future.
Yeah, and I like too PSA last year kind of made that shift, and it was only for higher end cards, which I was kind of disappointed about, where you can go and look up the grading report. Similar, like you mentioned, how Tag
Right.
does it, which I think is
Yeah.
probably the best part of Tag grading. I mean, obviously the consistency of the grader every single time, and you're sending a card in, and it will tell you exactly what the issue is, or I mean, I believe it will even tell you like, oh, this card is sharp, this is what's good about it,
Yep.
blah blah blah. Because a lot of people get their cards back and they're like, a PSA 8. I mean, this thing was flawless. But then they don't see, the back left corner or on the
Yeah,
back,
there's
there's
a
like a
dimple
little
or a
like a
print
printing
line.
line or whatever it might
Right.
be.
Or
But now with
fingerprint.
Tag,
Yeah.
exactly. So Tag now kind of alleviates that worry. And like you said, if PSA could kind of get the gears in motion now to get that going for some of the lower end cards, like if we're talking bulk grading where you could kind of look up, scan a QR code and see exactly why your card got an 8 or a 9. That's huge. That's huge. And we're talking transparency, which I think a lot of people think PSA isn't giving up right now, especially after
No.
all this.
And I think as long as they don't have competition, I guess they don't really have to change. Like what they're doing is a billion-dollar, industry. Like they're making money hand over fist doing what they're doing. So like, do they have to change? No, I guess not. But I wonder if, over time, will other companies who decide to go the technological route, like I already saw, like GemRate, they now have Tag Grading recognized as like an official grading company, one of the top 5 grading companies in the world. Like they actually have Tag now listed as one of their, when they accumulate their reports every month, every week, they actually have Tag Grading in there now. Where before it was, I might be missing some, but I'm pretty sure it was PSA, Beckett, SGC, CGC. I think it was pretty much just those 4. And now
Tag
Tag,
now,
and now Tag is also recognized as a top grading company, and maybe they'll continue to go. I might try it out. And document it on the podcast or on the YouTube channel possibly, and give it an opportunity, give it a shot. I'm curious what their turnaround times would be too. Curious if they got better turnaround times. I think they do. I think it's within a few weeks. That I wonder if they have. Go ahead.
So I was looking at it a couple weeks ago, and I remember
like a 30-day
right now
turnaround.
on their official Instagram, it says our $15 per card offering will remain, but will be limited to a 20 card minimum order with an estimated 30 business day turnaround. So 20 card minimum order, $15 per cards, which I believe is in US.
That's half the price of PSA.
And half of the turnaround time too. So pretty good option, especially with how Tag has continued to grow in the hobby. I mean, imagine grading now $15 a piece, where in 2 years from now, maybe it grows to $37 a piece, just like where it could rival PSA.
Look, where PSA, like when you first started sending to PSA, when you got into the hobby around COVID, how much was it to send a card out?
I think it was like $16.
Yeah,
maybe even cheaper.
it's
Double,
double that.
$13. Oh, double, triple, maybe even more with upcharge.
I mean, unless you're going with a bulk submitter, right? Like PSA Canada or a bulk submission service. Yeah, you're paying, way more than that, $40-$50 per card to submit to PSA. And then you got the taxes and duties and all that nonsense too that kind of goes with it. Although Brad told us PSA Canada, they handle all that, which is nice at their submission center in Toronto. That was a great interview. If anyone wants to go back and listen to that, it was a really good interview. But anyways, we can put that to bed for now. I just wanted to kind of clarify some things because I had obviously seen the outcry and the uproar from the community about PSA. There's always going to be the haters out there. And I'm not saying PSA is perfect by any means, but I think that this is more of a misunderstanding than it is a scandal, in my opinion. So I just wanted to clarify kind of from my perspective, what actually happened compared to the story that's being spun by, some people, or the original information that was out there. There's some other information from PSA side that kind of makes more sense as to what actually happened. So anyways, okay, Anthony, we're a couple weeks away from Christmas. 2 weeks tomorrow, and I thought it'd be fun for us to put together a little top 5 Christmas gifts for card collectors. What do you think are kind of top gifts that people could get card collectors for Christmas?
Well, first of all, me personally, any Patty Kane hoarders out there that are trying to offload any cards for free, I'll take them off your hands.
For
I'll hold on to them.
This guy's looking to get free Patty Kane cards. Look at this
Hey,
guy.
I've never heard someone pay for a Christmas present for themselves before, but hey, you know what? If anyone's out there trying to give me a little Patty Kane for Christmas, I'll be at a couple card shows, so we'll see. Number one, though, that's got to be on the list is a card case. Jokes aside, got to be the card case. It's the essential for going to a card show. I still see a lot of people just kind of walking around with cards in the backpack, cards in their hand, one card in their hand. I mean, a card case allows you to go around a show, have your cards locked in there, have your money put in there, and whatever else you need. But that's the number one thing I think that every card collector should get when they first start collecting. So number one on the list has to be the card case.
Remember when we used to walk around with our 2 rows?
Oh, I've seen people walk around with 4 rows and just kind of like dump it on the table, and they're kind of walking around. It's nuts. It's nuts, man. What I've seen, grocery bags. I've seen everything, man.
Yeah, no,
grocery bags is probably one of the wildest.
The grocery bags, I've seen that too, and I'm like, Buds, you gotta level up here. You gotta level up here if you're gonna take this seriously as a flipper, buy, sell, trader. Got to level up a little bit from grocery bag, at least the 2 rows, or even a single row if you must. But a grocery bag's a little tough, I will say. So if your friend's walking around with grocery bags at card shows, do them a favor, buy them a box, buy them either a card case like a Zion or one of the other brands, or at the very least a 2 row possibly to put his cards into. But that's one. Yes, that's one. What's another one?
Number 2, especially if you are leveling up in the card game, it's got to be a display case, especially if you are thinking about setting up at shows. We've talked about it so many times with thieves in the hobby. I feel like this not only helps you display your cards when you're at a card show, but it helps you kind of stop thieves from taking cards off your table, because we've seen people try and get into the hobby first time setting up, second time setting up. You're talking to them and they're like, man, cards just keep disappearing. Like, I'm putting them on the table, I'm not selling them. They just keep disappearing. And, they start to notice cards are getting stolen. And if you are looking to build up in the hobby and you are looking to set up at, shows, getting a display case is a main priority, especially when you're putting cards out. So I have I believe it's called a Swansea from Amazon. I ordered that last year, still got it, loving it. But if I were to recommend maybe something a little bit thicker so that you could put some hobby boxes in it, cards, big row of it, whatever have you, because these ones are a little bit restrained to just kind of, a card or 2. But display case, gotta have it this Christmas.
What's third on your list of gifts for card collectors?
Keeping it simple here. Number 3 on the list, top loaders and penny sleeves. You could go to any LCS. They got them 40 pack, 100 pack, 400 pack, whatever it's got to be. Penny sleeve and top loaders are the bare minimum, the absolute bare minimum that you'll need as a collector this Christmas.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that's a must for all card collectors. You can never have enough top loaders. And those things are hard to get nowadays, man. Like, I don't know if there's a plastic shortage or what, but it feels like, there's they're more expensive, but also harder to get. I find they go out of stock more often than they ever used to. All right, what's next on your list here?
So number 4, when you've got and compiled all these presents together, especially the top loaders and the penny sleeves, you got to have a 4-row box for yourself at home. Don't be walking around the shows with this 4-row box because you're just going to throw your back out. But you need a place in your home where you can store your cards, and it has enough or ample space for you to put all your top loaders. You could throw graded cards in there. You could put one-touch cards that are in a one-touch in there. Anything you need, 4-row box. You could put hockey, baseball, soccer, football, whatever have you. maybe around 20 to 50 bucks for these at the LCS or on Amazon, but this is another essential for keeping your cards organized at home because we know just how hard that could be.
And what is the final thing on your list of top Christmas gifts for card collectors?
So fifth and final, if you could please pull this one up on the screen here. It is the McDavid Cup PSA 10 that recently sold. And very interesting enough, I was looking at this one on Card Ladder recently. Sold for $560,000. So let's just say you're thinking of a special someone out there, can't find a card case, can't find a display case, can't find top loaders, and you can't
but you're gonna find a PSA 10. You're gonna find a PSA 10 Cup RPA of Connor McDavid.
Hey, you know what they say, buy gifts for people you love. And here's a great one. This is just such a beauty. And I know it's on market because it just sold and there's a clear comp. So maybe we could do a little 60%, 70%, 80% maybe of sales. But yeah, this is a Christmas must-have. Christmas must-have.
$558,900. So over $500,000 for a Connor McDavid Cup True Rookie RPA number to 99. I'm curious actually what the pop is. Pop 3. So only 3 PSA 10s in existence, and one of them just sold last week for over $500,000. That's Canadian, by the way. $560,000 Canadian. Unbelievable. That's the highest sale we've seen all year when it comes to a hockey card. Like that's just blows everything out of the water. I'm pretty sure the comp before that was like half the amount. Like, I mean, that is quite the sale. I don't know if this has been. It's been verified. Look, it's got the green check. It's a verified sale.
It's official. It's real. It's ridiculous. That's what it is. But
hey, look,
I mean, a crazy card. Obviously,
sold it.
Oh my goodness! Look at that. Segue right into it. eBay PSA. That is just nuts. Nuts. Oh my goodness. I mean, a crazy card, just ridiculous. And to kind of go off what you said too, where the last sale was just about half, I was talking to a lot of people in Chicago too, and they were noticing that some of the higher end Connor McDavid cards have almost doubled in price. Like I remember seeing a couple weeks ago, off the top of my head, a limited logos Connor McDavid that sold, I believe it was middle of September, and then looking back to July, but almost doubling in price. Like I think it went from 58,000 to 120,000. It was just, it's ridiculous what high end stuff is doing in the hockey market right now. And you touched on it last week. The hobby's healthy, and I mean the cup is always a good way to pulse check the health of the hobby.
So there was that was obviously the highest selling card of Connor McDavid, I think all time actually. Yeah, that's an all-time sale for Connor McDavid. Prior to that, there was a sale legitimately. This is where it gets confusing though, because there was a sale. This one was on auction, so that was a fixed price sale through PSA. Or through eBay, but like it was an eBay sale, fixed price sale. You go back 2 weeks earlier, and I can show you right now. Let's add this to the stage. There we go. Literally November 21st, one sold for $364,000. And you got to go a ways back to find the other sale. But how in the matter of like 2 weeks did this go from $364,000 on an auction, I might add, Fanatics Premier auction, which a lot of eyeballs on that one. So it goes from being a $365,000 card to all of a sudden being worth $558,000 within 2 weeks. Like this is where it is strange. Is that not strange? Like how does it possibly? How could it be worth that much?
It's strange.
I don't know why there's 2 sales of that. Maybe it was. It's the same card, same sale. So it's just
same card, same sale, same price, everything. I mean, the only thing that kind of,
but this one here,
in my head, I'm just
November 21st, 2025, $364,000.
maybe there's a big fish out there that missed out on the auction and kind of was kicking himself for 2 weeks, and he was just like, I need to have this in a 10, whatever it is. And then obviously that buy and now price popped up 2 weeks later, and he was like, okay, I don't care. I'm not having that. I don't know the opposite of buyer remorse is, but just kind of missing out on buying such a big card. And he's like, I will pay $200,000 more. I am not missing out on this. And I mean, who knows? Someone that's ready to spend $600,000 on a card might have that kind of leeway and cash flow to just kind of say, yeah, I'm not missing out on a card like this again. But pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy stuff.
Well, the one that went for cheaper, 365, also has a 10 auto grade on it. Whereas the original,
arguably a nicer patch.
Arguably a nicer patch. Yeah. And it went for half the amount. It's a confusing sale. So yeah, it's verified. So we have no reason to believe that it's not a real sale. It's a verified sale through Card Ladder. And we, heard from Card Ladder last week. We were joined, by them. And, we know the process now. And I believe that this is a legitimate real sale that's been paid for. I just question whoever the hell paid for it. It's like, why didn't you get the one that was available for half the price 2 weeks ago? It's just astounding to me what goes on sometimes in this hobby. But yeah, unless Elon Musk is buying you a Christmas present, I'm not sure anyone's going to be buying you that card for Christmas anytime soon. I will say that. So that's your list. My list is similar to an extent. Mine's more so, I guess, for collectors, whereas yours was more like yourself, I guess. But for me, like loose packs for the stocking. I remember growing up, I loved getting just some loose packs like Series 1, Series 2 in the stocking and try and hunt for the latest Young Guns, right? So you get some packs of Series 1 and you hope to find that Demidov or a Jimmy Snuggerud or whoever, you're chasing in Series 1. That was always, something I looked forward to every Christmas in the stocking. Similar to you, supplies. So that's the top loaders, the penny sleeves, the count boxes. I think those are certainly things that every collector needs at some point. I'm with you. The Zion cases or whatever, card carrying case brand you want to buy. I think that's a terrific gift for anyone. I was a long time, was like, oh, I don't need any of those. I don't need that. That's crazy. That's for people who have like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cards. No, it's not. It's honestly, it's very useful. And I really like, I own multiples of them now. I think anyone who is into the hobby and goes to shows should have themselves a case. So that's another one. If you got a favorite player or a PC player, buy them a card of their favorite player. Like for Anthony, go out and try and find a nice Patty Kane for Anthony, potentially. And I think that'd be a great gift, right? If you're son or daughter or nephew, big Austin Matthews fan, go out and find a nice Austin Matthews card. It doesn't have to be expensive, but you find a nice one. Like you can find a, game use patch or something like that for $50-$60. You can easily do that. Any type of Maple Leaf, any card, but a card of their favorite player. And here's one for you. What a Card Ladder subscription. I think a Card Ladder.
I was thinking that too.
Would be nice too.
PSA subscription was in the back
PSA
of my mind.
Card Ladder subscription, maybe a tag subscription as well, potentially.
Now we're
some sort of subscription, Heck, go get a Beckett subscription. Why not? If it's your grandfather.
I like it.
For grandpa?
Oh my goodness. Old school collectors.
A Beckett.
Get them a Beckett guide. If they don't have Card Ladder, get them a Beckett guide for your grandpa.
That's what I mean. Go get Grandpa a Beckett subscription. There you go. So there it is. Some top Christmas gifts for card collectors. Okay, so we saw some big sales. The Cup it's been open for about a week now, and we are seeing some ridiculous sales come through right now. I want to first off show a couple of these Celebrini sales because I think we're getting a little overboard here. I'll be honest when it comes to Macklin Celebrini and how much his cards are going for. So his true rookie RPA, the 1 out of 99 from the Cup, sold for $33,000 Canadian. $33,000 for a Macklin Celebrini RPA from the Cup. Would you say Bedard sold for like
His first sale was $18,000. Now,
18,000?
obviously, the patch wasn't as nice, but still, just like we're talking kind of apples to apples here now. Like, I know I've said it a couple times, you can't compare apples to oranges, but this is right there, like almost doubling in price, pretty much doubling in price for Bedard last year. Ridiculous.
Well, like, I'm looking to see what the highest sale of like a Matthews one was. And keep in mind, like Matthews now, obviously his market's down, but at one point is one of the hottest players in the NHL. And June 1st of 2024, which that was the 70 goal year, if I'm not mistaken, his 70 goal chase at the very least. He had a true rookie, a Cup RPA number to 99, BGS 95 that sold for $30,000. So it's graded a BGS 95 coming off of his 69 goal season, and it sold for $30,000, which is $3,000 less than this Macklin Celebrini card. Does that make sense to you?
No sense at all. I'd love to know what Nathan McKinnon has gone. The highest ever sale in a Nathan McKinnon, $36,000. PSA 8, June 5th, 2022. That's the highest sale ever. I mean, after shipping and taxes, I would say that Macklin Celebrini is clear. And just wait until you see the out of 24 sale, but both out of 99. And you're telling me that Macklin Celebrini is going toe to toe in sales with Nathan McKinnon? And this is his highest sale ever. We're just looking at one Celebrini sale here.
Well, this
crazy stuff.
This was his highest sale ever until this was pulled. And this, which is the gold rookie, numbered at 24, which sold for $51,000. $51,000 for a gold RPA of Macklin Celebrini, numbered at 24, 51 grand. That is insanity. Insanity, dude.
Oh my God. I'm trying to find more sales too. There is nothing in the realm of what Macklin Celebrini is selling for right now. And I mean, I know I talked about it last week. The play is kind of, representing why the market is going so crazy. This isn't what happened with Connor Bedard, where we got a taste of it in the World Juniors and then everyone was going nuts for him. I mean, Macklin Celebrini is performing at the highest level right now. He should go on to make the Olympic team. The hype is there. The only thing they're missing is a cup run. But $54,000 or $51,000 from Macklin Celebrini, I do not see a world where this pans out. I am so sorry for the person that bought this. If you're listening, I just cannot see a world where you are making money off this investment. And I could be wrong. But
I'm looking into the numbers now, and the only players that have had a Cup RPA sell for $50,000 or more. Do you want to guess the players?
I mean, sure. I'm looking at a couple right now, and this is shocking.
Okay, so if you're looking at it, I'll just say it then. So the only players to sell for more than $50,000 in a Cup RPA: Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, Alex Ovechkin, and now Macklin Celebrini. That's it. Those are the only players who've had an RPA sell for more than 50 grand.
Nuts.
Does that make sense to you? That
Zero.
he is in that category already? I mean, not to me. Not to me, my friend. I mean, legitimately, I'm looking at a sale of McDavid. It's a BGS 9, which this isn't even graded. Like, this is not even a graded card. It probably wouldn't, like, it I guess I don't know what it would grade, but it's a thicker card. They usually don't grade that well. Let's be honest here. And I mean, there was a BGS 9 of McDavid that sold for that type of money. Like, would you rather a BGS 9 McDavid or this card you're looking at right now?
I would rather have a BGS 8.5 McDavid. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, like that's what we're looking at. I mean, look, this was it's not really a nice patch, so it's a really bad example because the patch stinks. But still, it's a Ovechkin Cup RPA number to 99, and it sold for less. than what we're looking at here. These are the sales. This is the one right there for Celebrini, and then this is everything that's in that realm. That's it.
It's crazy.
It's insane what his market is becoming and turning into, man. Absolutely insane. So those were a couple of the sales. There was a big Will Smith 101 that was pulled. There was also just like some really dirty patches. Did you see that? I had a buddy pull. I don't think I probably won't be able to pull it up here, but I had a buddy. Actually, you know what? I should be able to grab it. But the patch that I sent you, Cracker Jacks, which is a local store here in Niagara and Welland, they have a regular customer there, and he pulled an unbelievable patch. I'm trying to find it here. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Look at this thing. Look at this thing, dude.
Oh, I saw this sale. Oh
Dude.
my god. A Will Smith of this sold too.
Dude. This isn't going anywhere. I can tell you now. I know the owner of this card. He's not moving this ever. This isn't going anywhere. Really sucks that there's that little drag of the pen, which might cost it like a grade, but that patch is disgusting. Like, just absolutely disgusting. The fact that this is numbered to 71 too is wild. A patch like that, numbered to 71, is crazy. I get it; they're exquisites or whatever, numbered to their jersey number, but this is just a dirty, disgusting patch. Shout out to my boy Brian who pulled it, and I can guarantee you he's not selling this card ever.
So there was also a conversation too. I'm just sending it to you now. If you could pull this up. So there was something on Instagram actually about this card in particular where they were talking about how the San Jose Sharks haven't worn the jersey with the Shark logo since the 2021 season. So here we are right now. So this was something I saw on Instagram a couple nights ago. Took a screenshot because I wanted to have this conversation. And it is interesting because you're looking at some of the highest of end cards with Macklin Celebrini that are throwing in the Sharks patch logo there. And the question I kind of wanted to bring up to you is, even though these jerseys weren't actually worn by Macklin Celebrini, I mean, maybe they were worn in some capacity because
I'm sure they were at the very least worn, just not game used, but I'm sure they were at least player worn. I would imagine. I could reach out to my boy literally right now and ask him, hey, is the back, does it say player worn, game used? What's the back look like? Yeah. And get an answer for you. I would be shocked if it's not player worn at the very least. I don't think it's manufactured though. I think it's cup. It's the cup. It's got to be.
Right.
I would be very upset if it turns out that this was a manufactured patch.
So here's the conversation. Let's say they do say it's player worn, because I feel like that's the most realistic, because if they say that it's a game worn patch, even though they haven't worn those jerseys since 21-22, that's a whole other conversation. So I'm going to live in a world where it is just player worn, and maybe he wore it at like a photo shoot, or maybe they just toss it on, toss it off. I do not know what quantifies as player worn in Upper Deck standards. Would you still be okay with them using a jersey that the team hasn't actually worn? So let's say it is a world where Macklin Celebrini throws the tarp on. It hasn't been worn since 21-22 in a real game, takes it off, and they're like, all right, sweet, player worn. Let's use this as our patch. You as a collector, are you still okay with that? Or does that kind of bring up the conversation that we've talked about before, young guns not wearing the team they're playing on now's jersey? Just kind of
that doesn't matter to me. That doesn't matter to me at all. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it's still the same jersey. Like, I think he's worn the jersey, whether or not the team actively wears that as like one of their active sweaters. Okay, maybe not, but I don't think it's going to. If anything, I think if you're Upper Deck, you're smart to put these jerseys on the kids so that when they do go to move, when they do go to use these jerseys, you can use sick patches and these cool shoulder, shark bite patches. It's better to use those than it is to use jerseys that don't have that patch, right? So I think it's actually kind of smart by Upper Deck to throw these jerseys onto these kids. I personally don't care though. No, as long as it's player used or worn, whatever it is, it may not be game used. Do I prefer game used? Sure. Yes, I would definitely prefer a game used patch over a player worn. But at the end of the day, if I can get a sick looking card like this,
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like I think I would rather this card here that we're looking at. I think I would rather this card with this patch being player worn than a game used, but like, meh, it's just, something like
Could be a
something like
napkin. Could be
this.
like a
Well,
three
something like
stripe.
this,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Like you look at the Meach Cup one. Like, would you rather this? Like, oh, it's game used. All right, that's cool. Or you can have a super cool player worn patch that is far more aesthetically pleasing. I'll take the Celebrini patch.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of torn. I do think that game used is nice to have, but it's hard to pass up a crazy patch like that. I mean, you bring up a good point with like, okay, if it's like a napkin game used versus this, obviously a different conversation. But I think the Mitchkov looks pretty clean, especially if it is game used. But it's hard. The San Jose logo is really hard to pass up. Like,
Oh
especially
yeah.
if you're a big San Jose collector too, and you kind of just go after cards that have like the shark head. Really sweet stuff. So I'm kind of torn on it. Maybe if we were talking a different team or a different logo, maybe it could be a different story. But San Jose brings up some sweet patches the same way that the Chicago Blackhawks do.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll try and get that answer before the end of the show. If not, maybe it'll be next week. We'll have to follow up on what it says on the back of that card. But before we get out of here, I know that you wanted to talk a little bit about the new show, the new big show. Sounds like the Sport Card Expo and CSC combining in like a mid-season expo kind of thing on Valentine's weekend. You wanna share some more details about that, Anthony?
Yeah, so thank God they are running it all weekend because Lord knows that Saturday night I will be unable to attend
I know,
because
right?
as most of us know, it will be Valentine's Day, maybe even some midday lunch. Who knows what it looks like, but I'd imagine that Saturday will be a write-off for most attendees. But it looks like
No,
so
here's what you do. I'll tell you what you do. You don't do your midday lunch. Absolutely not. What you do is you just schedule a late dinner, right? You do dinner at like 8 o'clock, which means that you get there early in the morning on Saturday. You get yourself all what you got to do. You get carted out by like 5 o'clock, and then you leave, and then you're home by 6. You quickly take a shower, get ready. You get your girlfriend, wife, fiance, whatever it is, and you end up to wherever you got to be by 8 o'clock. That's the
I like
move on
that.
a Saturday.
I like that. Okay, you know what? That's a good idea. So for all the listeners out there, February 13th to 15th, especially that 14th, make sure to take Mike's advice. But it's going to be at the International Center, it looks like, in Hall 5 specifically. And a really cool aspect about this show. So here's the note from Drew. So the show will be divided into one section with sports cards and collectibles, and another section with Pokemon and TCG cards and collectibles. So dealers can choose which section they want to exhibit in, but you should have more than 50% or more of that as their collection, which I think is really cool. So I haven't really seen this too much at shows. I've seen them kind of organize it a little bit, some tables here, some tables there. Some
Yeah.
Pokemon collectors get lost in the sports card collectors, but I
I
section,
think
but
the
I think
Expo does a really good job of having like their own little CSC spot. I think Expo's
right.
done a really good job of having that TCG corner, if you will.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
now
I
it
think it's
seems like
great
they're
too.
expanding.
And we've talked about it so many times how, obviously I'm not too much of a Pokemon collector and I love people going out there for shows and enjoying whatever they collect. But for me personally, I'm a sports card collector, a hockey card collector, and a newly, hopefully, baseball collector. Picked up a really sweet Bo Bichette this weekend, really getting into that.
Oh,
But I do think that this is going to be good. And I think a lot of people listening right now, if you are organizing shows in the future, this is going to be huge to organize sports and TCGs in different sections or different tables and, organizing the booth in a manner so you're not really getting lost too much, because I think it's going to help people walking around. I think it's going to help the organizers. And ultimately, I think it's going to help the people setting up the booths too, because people know where to go. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out. And I'm excited to see just how big this show is going to be too, because International Center, sports cards, always a good mix. And the King Daddy Topper, it's during the Olympic break too. So can make some really big plays day to day, depending on how Team Canada, Team US, and maybe some other teams, you never know.
This is true. This is true. Yeah, that's something to keep in mind as well. When you're there, just kind of keeping an eye and make sure when you're bringing your new card case that you got for Christmas, you're walking around. Hopefully, you've got it stuffed with players who are playing in the Olympics and where their hype is probably at its height for the season. So another thing to kind of keep in mind there, but it should be, I'm excited for it. I mean, the Sport Card Expo, they do a great job every year. So for them to be adding another kind of half show, I guess, in between the fall and the spring expo, a little winter expo, if you will, in conjunction with CSC, I think that should be a lot of fun. So I'm excited for this. February 13th to the 15th. All right, Anthony, you want to show off your pickups of the week?
All right, let's do it. So I picked up one card besides that Bo Bichette. Maybe I can show the Bo Bichette, but it is in the PC, so it won't be going anywhere. And I'm hoping that he can sign with the Blue Jays this week. Source tells me it's supposed to be tomorrow, so we'll see. My source is not great. My source is not that great. But I picked up this cool Bo Bichette rated rookie. It's a black refractor. So I wanted to get something out of Bowman. I know these aren't licensed, but it turned out to be a good deal. I love his auto. I just thought it was a sweet card, and I wanted to kind of dip my toe. So 28 out of 50, that really caught my eye too, because I'm number 28 in hockey. 28 is my number. So I saw that and I was like, yeah, you know what? For that price, might as well just scoop it up. And then I went to go visit my buddy Eric, who was set up at a tournament this weekend. Shout out Shadur Sanders, had a big fantasy week. Picked up this for $1 off him. Didn't even know he had a card with the Yankees. Not really worth much more than $1, but I was like, you know what? Pretty cool card. Dion's always in the news, and just kind of toss that in the collection there. So Dion Yankees card. Didn't even know he had it, but
neither did I. There you go. Any hockey or just those two there?
No hockey, man. I don't know what it is. I just kind of can't really. Maybe we could talk about it in the future, but it's starting to get frustrated, man, with how the hockey's planning out, and hard to buy right now for good percentages. It's really tough in the hockey market.
Yeah. Well, there's a topic for next week. We'll write that down in the doc.
Write that down. Anything for you?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I was given. Hold on, I gotta give a special shout out to our boys here that sent me this. So Hitbox Cards actually sent me one of their. Well, hold on, I gotta change this nonsense here. Hang on a sec. But yeah, Hitbox Cards sent this to me, and they're a repacker, essentially a repacker, and they sent it to me and said, hey, hopefully you guys can have some fun. I know that in the past you've talked about the pros and cons of repacks, and maybe you guys can have fun with this one. I know that they buy cards off people as well. I will say, and I think it's a good company, obviously. I want to see what this is though. There's subscription box tiers, and this one is veteran. So this one is a veteran box, which is valued at $149. I think it says.
Wow.
I don't know if that's like a subscription thing or what, but anyways, shout out to Hitbox Cards for sending this my way and wanted me to open it up on stream. So we'll open it up. I don't know if I'll be able to do this properly. Oh, we'll see. Kind of bundled up properly. Let's say, thank you for being an awesome customer. Shout out. And what do we got? Oh, we got some penny sleeves as part of this as well. Looks like there's a little note in here. What's the note say? What does the note even say? I haven't opened this, so I literally have no idea what's in here. Okay. Veteran hockey pack list. So I guess here's all the packs maybe that I got.
Ooh.
All the packs in here. Is that what it is? A bunch of packs? That might be exactly what this is. A bunch of packs, I think.
Perfect for the stocking stuffers, man. I mean, a couple
stocking stuffers. So we got a bunch of packs.
Ooh, look at that.
So we got who do we got? Got a Timmy's pack, an O-Pee-Chee hobby pack from this year, 24-25. Yeah, the Macklin Celebrini year. Metal Universe pack from Bedard's year. Series 2 of 24-25. So Macklin Celebrini. Possibly.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Series 1 as well from last year. Series, no, wait.
I think that's Nice's year.
And then Series 1 from this year. And we got SPX. There's an Allure pack and then a Credentials pack as well.
Oh.
So I'm going to open up 2 of these. You let me know which one you want me to open up here.
Oh, it's got to be the Celebrini one. And then I'm thinking the Timmy's. Love Timmy's.
Timmy's? No way. I got to pick up something better than Timmy's. Oh. Come on now.
Okay, give me the, what is it, the 23-24 Series 1? Is that the Matthew Nyes year?
There was no 23-24. What is this? Series 1, Series 2, 24-25. There was Bedard year.
All right.
No, last year's. So Lane Hutson's year.
Okay, we could chase Lane. Let's chase Lane and let's chase Demidov because I think you said you got something from this year, right? I like that.
Yeah. So we'll chase. So we got the Demidov year, and then we got the Macklin Celebrini year.
Oh, so even better. Okay.
So we'll search for a Macklin and a Demidov, and we'll see if we can pull either of those here on stream. So again, shout out to Hitbox Cards for sending me these packs to open up. Really, really appreciate it. And let's see what we can grab here. All righty. So we've got an on tour. Let's see here. On tour, Edmonton Oilers, Oliver Kapanen, Young Guns, the
playing well,
Montreal
Canadiens.
Well, actually. He's playing really well, yeah. And what do we got here? Electricity of Alex Ovechkin. So that's it. So we didn't get the Lane Hudson, unfortunately. Or no, was this Hudson?
Not bad, though. Playing good. You get some.
No, that was the Celebrini. So no Macklin Celebrini. Did get Oliver Kapanen, though. It's not bad. And then this one, we're chasing the Demidov. So we're chasing the Demigod. See what we can get here. Nathan McKinnon, Sizzle Reel, which these are sick cards, by the way. I don't know if you notice. You can actually, these QR codes, if you actually use your phone and you, do the QR code, it actually like shows you the highlight reel. Almost
really?
Yeah, remember like Top Shot, the NBA Top Shots? It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Huberdeau Canvas and compositions, Kyle Connor.
Okay.
And that's everything. All right, so we didn't get the big boys, but I'll open the rest in a little bit, and we'll see if we pull anything else. I have a bad record opening on cam, huh?
I honestly feel like you're going to wrap this up, start opening up some packs, and then pull like a Connor Bedard or something out of these packs. Because it feels like every time it happens. Last time it happened with Demidov, happened with Lane Hudson, Telemetry. So we'll see.
I know. Anyway, that'll do it for us here today on the podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe right here on YouTube. You can also find the audio version of the podcast on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. We'll be back next Wednesday with another edition of the Hockey Card Haven podcast.